Like, I think that person, if they have a dream of being a pilot, they should be able to work hard enough and be given the opportunity to learn to be a pilot. It doesn't mean that because they imagine they're a pilot, they get to be one. But if you're like, I want to be a pilot, I'm going to be like, I don't care where you come from, what you look like. Here's the resources to learn to study. And if you put your time into that and you learn and study, then congratulations, you deserve to be one.
No,
that's that.
Okay, but so this, again, doesn't even begin
it's not stopping them from being a pilot, it's just teaching them to be one before they do it.
My turn, right? So, one more time. This is my actual argument. Try to address the argument I make, not the one that you wish I made, and then address that argument. The argument that I'm making is, that is not do what you want as long as you're hurting nobody else. That is, you can do what you want as long as we license you to do it, and we rigorously vet you to do it. And after we have rigorously licensed you and vetted you, then you can do it. And if you don't do it that way, you go to jail. That is not do what you want as long as you're not hurting anybody else. That is sloganeering bullshit.
No,
bullshit
because I decided to just take 20 people and get on a plane and...
Wait. STFU and try using logic. You can fly a plane without a license.
Right.
Right. So,
okay,
so let me take this. I don't know if you have kids or not, but let's say you have 3 toddlers at home right now. Mm-hmm. And let's say a random man off the street who's never flown a plane in his life said to you, hey, I'm going to take your kids on my plane. I want to go for a joyride. Mm-hmm. Would you feel comfortable with that? Or would you rather go on a flight with someone who you know?
Yeah, fuck no,
learned?
I'm not doing that.
Right. Because you have standards. It's not that no one can be a pilot, but if you're going to entrust
advocating you should be able to do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting anybody, or are you advocating that?
I am. And
okay, well then why are you giving me an internal critique?
I think that person should be able to be a pilot. I think they just need to learn how to be one.
Me an internal critique about a position I don't even hold.
Because you're stating that by my logic, any random person should be able to be a pilot.
Yeah, by your logic of you can do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting anybody else is not even a standard you yourself believe. I just demonstrated it. No, you believe in over-the-top rigorous licensing for fucking everything. What are you talking about?
I don't believe in rigorous licensing for owning a home. Like you just gave owning a home as an example. I don't think anyone needs to have licensing to own a home.
Okay, what about owning?
To open someone's chest and
do
surgery?
You do.
You
Listen,
should be licensed.
By the way, you cut me off when I was making that argument. No, you do believe you need a license when you own a home. For instance, if you want to add on to your home, have a structure.
Yeah, I know about permitting.
Yeah, do you think we should have permitting for that?
I mean, Santa Barbara's permitting laws, I actually highly disagree with. It depends on that's a very county by city basis.
Yeah, that's not my question. Do you think that the government should be empowered to come in and tell you how you're going to be able to zone your own house if they consider any type of public danger, even if it's just a perception?
If they perceive that the structure you're building is going to cave in on itself and kill the people living in it, then sure. That's why you have to learn to be a construction
worker. They're doing whatever they want. They're doing whatever they want, and they're not hurting anybody else.
But they are by building something they don't know how to build. That is harming people.
Wait a second.
So they're going to learn to build it or hire someone who knows how, and then still. That's what I'm saying. If you want to add on to your house, you can add on to your house.
So you live by yourself.
But you just need to do it in a safe way.
So you live by yourself on a hill, right? And you build your own structure. The government comes in and says, nope, you got to have a permit for that. Because you might harm yourself. Great, but your argument is you should be able to do whatever the fuck you want as long as you're not hurting anybody else. Who cares if they're going to harm themselves?
No, I'm saying if they want to add on to the house, they can still add on to the house. They just literally need to do it in a safe way.
So they just need to rigorously be vetted and licensed in order to do what they want.
For certain things in the world, certain things in the world are
unsafe. You absolutely don't believe that people should be able to do whatever they want as long as you're not hurting anybody else.
I believe if you want to add on to your house, you can add on to your house. Just do it in a safe way.
Every single example that you give requires licensing, rules, regulations, and people interfering with your life before you can do the thing that you want that doesn't hurt anybody else.
We live in a society.
The opportunity.
That's why you can't just walk down the street and murder people.
We live in a society. That's why I wouldn't make such a ridiculous argument as you can do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting anybody else, because that's sloganeering. That's not true.
That's the ideal. I think she's saying it's more of the ideal, though, and not what
it's not taking it too literal.
You're interrupting.
But it's okay.
I'm sorry, I was responding to her.
I just think that it's...
What does that mean?
Stay safe.
What does that mean?
Thank you for the raid. Stay safe. Welcome, guys. Go to twitch.tv/whatever. Drop us a follow and a Prime sub if you have one. If you have Amazon Prime, you can link it to your Twitch. It's a quick, free, easy way to support the show.
Tell Stay Safe, tell Matt. I hope he had a good stream.
Matt.
I hope he got a bunch of levels in World of Warcraft.
Matt, Brian hopes you. We all hope you had a good stream, and we hope you get levels in World of Warcraft. Yeah? Thanks. Okay.
Okay, go ahead, guys.
Yeah, keep going.
No, I just think that the bigger issue is that should we have free will or not? I mean, that's, you know what I mean? It depends on what you believe in that way, because I don't personally want the government involved, but that's the system we have already. So how do we work with what we have? You know what I'm saying? I don't agree. Like, I don't necessarily agree with the exact way of, I think you should be able to build something on your own property in the middle of nowhere and be able to make your own decisions. But it's confusing because not that I know the right answer, but because I don't know how to bridge this space, because it's about, too, what do you believe as moral and not, like what's good and bad in your perspective. That's different for everybody. So how can you ever find a real solution? Which you're saying, which I hear, correct me if I'm wrong, what I hear you saying is go with the majority, but then what happens to the people that are not the majority?
I didn't give a position.
Okay, no, that's why I said correct me if I'm wrong.
All I was doing is pointing out that often I hear sloganeering from people, like in this regard. People should be able to do whatever the hell they want as long as they're not hurting anybody else. But then when you test that, you find out they don't fucking believe that shit at all. They don't believe that they shouldn't be able to knock the gun out of their, kids' hands so that they don't unalive themselves. They don't believe that they shouldn't be able to smack the pills out of their daughter's hand so they can't. They don't believe for a second that they shouldn't be allowed to do that. The thing is when you take it from the conceptual to the practical, you realize, no, we really got to kind of interfere a lot in people's lives.
No, and I totally
And we have
agree.
to do it all the time. And we have to do it for very good and specific reasons.
Yeah.
Have you ever read Atlas Shrugged?
Yeah, with Ayn Rand.
Yeah. Your thoughts?
My thoughts is that Ayn Rand was a giant cope fiend, right? She was coping the entire time that she was banging a guy who was 20-something years younger than her, because what she did was she took all the rich industrialists and she made them the heroes of the story, which is fucking insane, and then they came and saved society. So it's like the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life, but that's what I think of it. Yeah.
I'm trying to get to, and you may have gotten
Remember how the rich industrialists came in and saved a society from, nothing, ever. Instead, they have micro-engineered and fucked it up every possible way that they can by essentially creating lobbying groups that go and commission the government to go after whatever their private interests are by fucking over all the rest of us. That's what rich industrialists usually do.
Okay. I mean, I personally think Ayn Rand is, a hero in autonomy, individualism.
Well, Atlas shrugged and your brain fell out, right? As the old libertarian saying goes.
So for the majority who don't agree with Christians or, your view on how this country should be, where are they left?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
So people who don't align themselves with Christian values or views with the freedom of religion in this country, where are they left being represented or supported by this country?
It's going to be the same exact place where anybody would be left if they refuse to follow the rigorous morals and the tailorings that society produces for them. The same place that you would be left in Japan if you weren't following their cultures, customs, and rituals. The same places that you would be left anywhere, right?
Is this not a melting pot of a country with different values?
He doesn't like that.
He doesn't.
This does not in any way.
He would do great with the CCP.
Okay, so anyway.
Would he not?
This does not in any way deter from this idea. We are a melting pot. Sure. Does this mean that you would import tons and tons and tons of people who thought that murder was okay?
No, because that's...
Right. So so if they don't coincide with your values, it's okay for you to exclude them. And so this is the thing, is like, we think the same exact thing. We think it's perfectly acceptable that if the majority has these beliefs inside of a democracy, which is what liberals claim they love, that if we take that democracy over and impose our world like liberals are doing to us, there's no problem with that.
But no, because there's no law saying murder is okay.
What would that have to do with anything?
Because you said we can import a bunch of murderers into this country, they have the choice to murder and there's going to be consequences that you face.
No, you're missing the idea here. Let's assume that you could import the value of murderers to the point where they became a serious voting bloc. They could then, theoretically, impose their will via democracy by voting in people who then made murder legal, right?
Like Christians?
So, are you going to answer my question, or?
I'm just saying what you're saying.
The abortionists think the Christians are the murderers. Okay.
No.
So anyway,
no one
back
ever
to
said that.
Well, that's what you just said.
No, I didn't.
You said like Christians when I was referencing murderers.
No, you said forcing people to like have these views. And I said like Christians in comparison.
Yeah, I don't know
when
why.
You said, oh, we're going to import murderers here because they'll have a bigger influence. I'm just trying to finish and get this thought out. So we're going to import murderers here so they can have a vast influence on the voting majority. Like Christians, right? Because Christians, you say, are the majority, and their law should rule
or liberals, or women who are the majority, or whoever. It doesn't matter.
It's not a perfect country for everybody, but it shouldn't be based off a single religion.
Why? Why not? Because you just don't like it, right?
No, it goes against everything this country was built off of, right?
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Who built the country? A bunch of white Christians?
With the freedom to practice religion.
Yes.
And the laws you're voting
First of all, the reason that there was an allowance of the practice of religion, you couldn't be a Catholic. You couldn't even come to this country if you were a Catholic. You couldn't even come. The reason is because Protestantism is divided. They did not ever think that this was going to be a non-Christian nation.
But
none of our founders ever thought that. Christians demand
a lot of respect from people they don't respect themselves.
I don't even know what that means. What does that mean?
If you don't believe in God, you're going to hell.
So?
That goes against spiritual people. Why is your religion the most important out of the hundreds out there?
Right.
Why should you be heard and no one else?
I'll explain.
The most important. Why is
so I'm going to explain so that you understand.
Things. That's
right?
what I'm wondering.
Oh, I understand.
I don't think you do because
why you think
because I'm granting your worldview. I'm saying let's assume Christianity is the worst. It's like the worst.
I never said it was the worst.
I know. Let us assuming. We're going to assume it. Well, you know it's not true. We're just going to pretend for a second so that we can do this hypothetical that it is. So we pretend Christianity is the very worst religion ever. And you import into your atheist country a bunch of Christians who tell you, we want to definitely impose our Christian will on your atheist values. Okay?
Okay.
If you import them into your democracy in significant numbers, and then they begin to multiply, right, they could feasibly, inside of your democracy, begin to elect politicians who share their values, right? That's true. And if they share their values, they're going to implement the law based on the values they share with that now largest voting bloc, right?
Okay.
So if they do that, what actually would be the fundamental problem with that?
Christians don't run America. Are you the majority? Sure. But I doubt all the Christians out there agree with the extreme right-wing views that you are portraying that they have. Because it's not all Christians, right? Just like it's not all men. It's not all Christians. There are Christians out there who love thy neighbor. Right? They love thy neighbor and they love you regardless of what you choose to do, and they're not going to force you. Are they going to sit there and because they love you, their way of loving you is teaching you about their God, right? But they're not going to force it on you.
Can I? Okay, I'm going to piggyback. So this whole thing started with why do men, from a viewer question, why do men die by, you know what? No, we're not allowed to say it, at a higher rate. And I've noticed in my adult life how men namely, and I have many close to me, who grew up in a very highly religious, some cult-like, some, deep Christianity, have some serious issues now, right? Because of the confines that they were forced to be in. And as grown adult men, they can't cope. They're still figuring it out and learning their way. So I'm trying to understand how you rationalize why you can't even, I get it, you have really rigid views, but why you can't see that. Secondly, well,
let's do one at a time.
And also, let's actually do just one.
Okay.
And let's have Andrew answer in about a minute because I want to move this on.
When you're talking about the rigidity in views, how have I been rigid? I've answered every question asked of me, dove into each worldview that you've given me, and shown where the flaws in them are. That is a lack of rigidity. That is me being completely fluid in ideology, so that I can internally critique from where you're coming from. What's really hilarious here, none of you have seemed, maybe her, right? She's a smart one because she's quiet, but I'm kidding, I'm joking. But anyway, none of you seem to be able to do the opposite for me. None of you seem to be able to put yourself here. Hang on.
I was a.
Hang on.
Actually, hold on.
Hang on. I'm almost done.
And actually, none of you even get to respond because he has final word. I have to move it on. It's been too long.
So anyway, none of you even seem to be able to put yourself in my shoes to hear what I'm saying, to even hear what I'm saying, because she responded to an argument I didn't even make twice. And then when I come over to you, when you're asking me this question, you say, I don't understand. It's these Christian men who grow up in these rigid households. Okay, I'm sorry, but Christian men, they're the stability of society, least crime rate. Hang on.
No, I'm going to move it on. I have to move it on.
No, I'm going to demonstrate real quick, okay? As far as crimes go, as far as commission of crimes, as far as being in poverty, as far as all of these things, those Christian men from two-parent Christian households have the best outcomes in all of those regards. The ones that come from the single mom alternative households, not so great.
What about the priest?
Not doing so hot.
No. What about the priest?
Well, with women, you're so pro.
Now, by alternative, I didn't even mean LGBTQ.
No,
I'm just
I'm
saying
I grew up in a
anything
nuclear
alternative to the
He's just
two-parent household
bi-rigid.
usually has.
He's super patriarchy. Your wife wouldn't even be able to write her book or live her expression.
So
in other countries, in Iran, these girls aren't even educated.
Women have been writing books for hundreds of years under the patriarchy.
It's okay.
Feminism had some of the most prolific writers pre-suffrage. Those were the best writers. The shit writers came after suffrage. So they were cruising around with this evil patriarchy who was oppressing them, writing all kinds of books, traveling the world. They really had it rough. They had it rough.
I do have to move things on. I have to move things on. So I need to do a couple things here. Robert Tanner. One sec, guys.
There was a great question, capitalism or
We're doing
communism.
the devil's
So you're
job.
communist, socialist?
Can you stop? Can you stop? Okay.
No, he doesn't like capitalism. He doesn't like Ayn Rand capitalism.
So, Robert Tanner, thank you for the gifted 50 memberships. Also, thank you for the 10.
Can't wait to get into that.
Time permitting, I need to get through my own notes here. So, Robert Tanner, by the way, thank you for this one. This came in